Hey everyone, welcome to another installment of IF and Love Cinema. Today we're going to be talking about the 2016 Denis Villeneuve movie Arrival, which I actually saw in theaters. I went to go see in theaters with my brother and a good friend of mine back in the day. But we went to the bar before we went to go see the movie. So we had a couple of beers in me, or we all had a couple of beers in us, and the movie, first of all, it's a powerful movie. It was a powerful movie to begin with, but I think when you watch a movie that is that emotionally powerful when you're drunk, like it doesn't really have, at least you don't think it's gonna have the same effect as if when you were sober. I mean, when I first went to go see Arrival, I thought it was gonna be a very well made but sort of standard alien invasion movie. It's a lot more than that. It was a lot more than that. And I always thought over the years, like I kind of did a disservice to that movie by being drunk when I watched it. Cause give me a sec. All right, what are you doing now, man? Why are you so crazy today? Anyways, that's my dog. Come here, Dari. Come here. Oh, come here. Say hi, Dari. Say hi. This is my puppy. Okay? This is my little doggy. She's a good doggo. She's a good pupple. And she's being a bit of a brat today. But about Arrival. Yeah, so I thought it was gonna be just your standard what's going on? Your standard sci-fi movie turned out to be a lot more than that. I always thought I did a bit of a disservice by watching it drunk. So this weekend, I decided to show it to my girlfriend, and I watched it sober for the first time. And first of all, I'm glad. I'm very glad that I remembered how the movie worked. You know, sort of the big twist and all that stuff. Because watching this movie a second time, even after what, like 6 years now, watching it a second time was such a powerful experience. It really was. Knowing what's going on with time, and the perception of it, really kind of made the story have a different type of power than it did the first time I watched it. Simply because, like, you know what's going on. And what I think is really great about Arrival is that I feel it's such a complete package. You know, like Denis Villeneuve has done before this, proven himself plenty of times capable of telling these incredible stories with all this depth and all this nuance. But I think what makes Arrival so special is that, like, it's I always say a good first act teaches you how to watch the movie, and I really appreciated that this time more, because once you know that, I'm assuming anybody watching this at this point has seen it, so I'm going to spoil some stuff here, that what you're watching in the very beginning is actually the epilogue of the movie. It happens after the story, and it's so great how this movie kind of plays with time, even though you're not entirely aware of it, because we are telling what's her character's name, Louise. We are hearing Louise's story from her point of view, which has been skewered from communicating with the aliens. So it stands to reason that in its very conception and its presentation, that time is warped, right? So I thought that was a very effective sort of maneuver, whatever you want to call it, tool. That Denis Villeneuve expertly kind of wields in this movie. But I kind of want to talk some more about just sort of the overall journey. One thing that I really came to appreciate this time around was like how how much of a standard, just a very basic invasion movie it is in the first half, and then how that relates to the second half, where we start to understand sort of the greater implications of what's going on with Luis, temporally and emotionally and stuff like that. I think what was really clever, and it's something that my girlfriend definitely pointed out, was that like the first half moves very fast. Like we get from usually in your average alien invasion movie, you actually see the UFO up close, like somewhere late in the second act or in the middle of the second act. Whereas this movie does it towards, the end of the first act and stuff like that. Like the first act and a half of this movie is very much just like your basic alien invasion movie. But then once once we start seeing cuts, and we think they're flashbacks, right? At first we think they're flashbacks of the daughter. Then the movie really sort of unfolds in this very very awesome, very poetic sort of way. Um, the one thing that sort of that never really sat well with this movie for me though is that we're supposed to believe that Luis and Ian end up together at the end of the story and stuff like that. And either time that I saw it, like I just didn't see any chemistry there. I mean, they didn't last, you know. So I guess it kind of makes sense, but I never got any vibes off of Luis and Ian at all, which is sort of the one flaw that I have. And the thing is that I'm trying to give Villeneuve the credit here because Villeneuve is a great director. If he wanted them to have chemistry, they would have had chemistry, but they don't. So I still try to figure out like what is it he's trying to do by not giving them any chemistry. And the only thing that I can really walk away with is just that they don't last. They don't last, but they don't last because of their daughter being sick, not because there's something fundamentally, not because they're fundamentally unattracted to each other. So that was the one. That's sort of the one knock that I have against Arrival, but outside of that, I think it's a fantastically made, fantastically conceived, very well written, incredibly well edited, by the way, movie. I think the score is fantastic. I think overall, this is just an incredible movie, and I really hope that I've expressed that because, like, I think this is what movies should be, right? Like these fully like self-contained, but fully realized like visions and stuff like that. That's what this movie is. It is completely yeah, it is completely self fuck what's the word I'm looking for here. Yeah, I'm sorry. I am just like not on my A game today, guys. I apologize, but yeah, it's a movie that's complete in every sense of the word, right? Its characters have complete arcs. Not only is the story in front of us complete, but sort of in our heads, how that story expands. It's a complete thing. Another thing that I really want to do is I love what they did with the aliens here. I think it's very interesting that they are behind essentially a 16 by 9 screen and all that. And I really love the scene where Louise finally gets to see these animals from like face to face, and she doesn't even know where to look because they're so alien, right? They're legitimately alien and stuff like that. Like I thought it was interesting how like they look like arms almost in a weird way until you see that they're actual full, self-contained. That's what I'm looking for. Self-contained. There it is. These full fucking creatures and shit like that. But like, what I really liked about what they did with the aliens is that like, they're unique in the sense that they're not threatening and stuff like that, but they're not threatening in like not the sense that they don't want war or anything like that, or they come in peace or anything. Like they come here looking for help, which is interesting. You don't really see that in a lot of alien movies where the aliens are coming from a place of vulnerability, and it kind of makes the imagery of them being inside this near. It feels like a solid rock spaceship, right? Like it's so closed off and stuff like that, monolithic in a lot of ways, like 2001. It's so interesting to me that these creatures go in the form of these spaceships the way they are, and they're seeking help, right? They're coming from a place of vulnerability, and I thought it was interesting when you sort of consider what it all looks like from the point of view of the aliens. Like I think about Independence Day, right? How like we think the big exoskeleton is the actual alien, but then they open up and there's that little alien inside that's controlling everything. That's what the aliens must look. That's what the humans must look like to them, with that orange protective suit that they take off once they want to speak person to person and stuff like that. And I think that's a very fascinating thing because, like, yeah, like if you're the alien, you're looking at these creature, these humans for the first time, you don't understand them any more than they understand you. So seeing them come out of their shells in a lot of literal sense, kind of like is surprising to them, and I think from their point of view allows them to open up a little bit. But then again, who knows? Like they're aliens and shit. They view time differently and stuff. But yeah, goddamn, Arrival is just peak sci-fi in my opinion because it uses its concept and it uses and presented in such a way that yeah, like it's trippy and it's cool and it's alien and it's weird, but it gets you in the feels. It gets you, it gets you emotionally. It tells a very human story, right? The sort of basic question in the center of this movie is one that's inherently human, right? Which is like Louise is going to give birth to her daughter knowing she's going to die young. She decides to do it anyways. Or if you see it as a decision, maybe you view it as more of of a deterministic thing. She was always going to have that kid, and she just accepted it. I think it kind of depends on how you look at it, right? But I think the main question at the center of it, like, why would you give birth to a child is going to suffer and die a young die young and stuff like that. And I think the movie doesn't really, I don't know, like the way that I see how this movie answers that question is that life is in and of itself worth the experience, right? Like, um, you know, as human beings, we view like death as this thing that like hangs over our lives, right? Like we all know we're gonna die and stuff like that. We all know everyone we love is gonna die. But to these creatures, you know, they view things outside of time and stuff like that. So to them, like death might mean a different thing because like human beings, we're a little egocentric, not literally in the sense that we're all egotistical, but in the sense that we kind of relate everything to ourselves, right? Like and to us, death is this major thing because it's the end of our lives of our time here on this planet, time, right? But to these creatures, like death might not be the end all be all because they're not just conceiving like themselves, right? They're conceiving themselves in relation to everything before and after they die. Just some more stuff to think about, right? But I think how that all relates to the central sort of conceit of the movie, which is that she does give birth to a child that she knows is going to suffer and die young. Like I think, you know, I think it's a beautiful sort of thing to think about, right? Because the only value that was ever given to that child, is the love she received and the love she gave to others. And I don't know. I guess that's why that movie. I guess that's why it works, right? I think that's the powerful message behind it is that it's sort of kind of putting a definitive button on sort of the big question, which is, why are we here? What's our purpose and stuff like that? That sort of existential shit. And I think it offers a very heartfelt, sentimental, and also kind of honest answer to that, which is we're here for each other, right? I don't know. You can't really fault on a movie for having something that's that beautiful at the center of it, even if it has just like, especially when everything else is so good. Say for one flaw that whatever, there's been worse couples on the screen, but yeah, that is my review of Arrival. Fantastic movie. What are your thoughts of the movie? Drop them below. Make sure you hit like and subscribe. Stay tuned for some more entries of These People Hate Cinema, of I Fucking Love Cinema. Oh yeah, we're 12 minutes in. I can see that. And also, my video essays are coming. They're coming through. They're coming through. They'll probably be here by the end of the month. So make sure you hit like and subscribe to see some video essays on punk rock and on Southland Tales, the movie, and the comic book and the overall universe and all that shit. So yeah, make sure you hit like and subscribe for all that. Until then, I've been Ed. You've been awesome. Take care, you guys.